All right, well, welcome. This is the Potomac Valley Scottish Fiddle Club May meeting, and for those of you who are going to be watching this online, we're pre-recording and then posting later because our signal is rather poor here, and I don't think we can do a live stream in this situation. For those of you here live, Potomac Valley Scottish Fiddle Club has a monthly meeting, usually the second Sunday, and in Sunday afternoon. And we have 8 meetings a year running from October through May, so we kind of run with the school year. And then in the summer we do various other activities, including performing at the Scottish Festival and various other things as we come up with them. Our usual meeting has some tunes learned by ear and some from sheet music, and there's always a theme. And this month's theme is Fiddle Tunes or other tunes that pipers can play. This is a combination fiddle piping music weekend, and so I made it accessible to the pipers. We don't have any pipers sitting in front of us right now, but here we are.
If they wander in, we're ready.
But my idea was, rather than pipe tunes that fiddles can play, which is when I choose pipe tunes, that's often the case, is that I've drawn them from pipe sources, and so I was thinking that I would pick some tunes that pipers maybe haven't encountered in the piping world and say, hey, you could play them too. Of course, fiddles can play this music as well. So I have a couple of candidates for the first ear tune, and so I'm going to give you a choice. Would you like to learn one that is a strathspey and it's short, or a slow air that's longer? It's not harder, but it's longer.
What's your
So depending on your interest, I'll lead off with that. All right, that's right.
Hey.
After this weekend.
Introduced at the Acadia Track Festival last June to Strasbourg.
Yeah.
That was a long trip.
Okay, so let's make a decision here. Strathspey or air?
I think we got this one.
Okay, let's go
More
for the
strathspey.
strathspey.
All
All
right.
right.
Fill you up with strathspey.
So this strathspey comes from the mouth music singing tradition. And so here's a book of Gaelic songs. This one's fairly well known. There's more than one in this series. This is volume 1, Togfawn, Gaelic songs and dance tunes. And so it specifically has some dance tunes, as in strathspeys, reels, and maybe jigs in here as well. Most of them, quite a lot of them are strathspeys, because those are easier to sing. Reels are actually hard to sing because they move fast. You have to, almost like tongue twisters. This one is called Iviata, and that is the first few words of the song. Those are vocables, so they don't, especially have a lot of meaning, although, V is a verb. It's not that they're nonsense. It's not nonsense, but it's generally not profound. This isn't the high poetry of the Gaelic tradition. These aren't the Gaelic bards. This is just a simple little tune, and the words are, my Gaelic is not that often, but it's basically, how do you reel Nian, which is girl, and it's like on the road, on the floor, so it's where do you dance the reel, and it goes on from there. I'm sure somebody's a better scholar than me.
So which part is the title then?
It's the very first words,
Yeah, but what do they mean?
vocables.
Oh, but you said,
Yeah.
very real.
And so that, I just gave you the first verse.
Oh, but not the chorus.
Right.
The chorus is the vocals. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right. So let me play the tune for you. got it in the key of D. And when you're talking about song tunes, you can actually put it in any key because it's the key that this person can sing in. So it would have to be either a pretty high tenor or a high soprano voice that would want to sing in this key. So sometimes you'll see this tune presented in other keys, but it's in the key of D today. I've seen it in G. I've seen it in C. I've seen it in other keys for sure. But okay, so unlike a lot of Strathspeys, this is a singing Strathspey. It tends to have some longer notes because again, it's easier to sing them. And I'm going to put this up here because I might refer to the words as we go along. Okay, and it begins with quarter notes. And being a Strathspey, each one of them is rather deliberate. And I'm just going to quickly check that this is still recording. Yes. Okay. I'm glad it is. All right. So, our first measure, and then a answering phrase. And this tune is based on a pentatonic scale. And have you heard that term?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going down that pentatonic scale. It's just a scale with a hole in it. The hole is always at the same place. So you're always going to skip that C note, or C sharp as it would be in the key of D. But you don't really care because it never comes up. Not once in this tune is a C note or C sharp note being played. Yeah. So without the C, it's straight down the scale from F sharp. And we'll put a snap in there. And then we have our initial phrase. So let's put the two together. And the words, my singing voice is not the greatest today, but I can't even sing this key. E, V, A, da, ooh, ah, I, da, la, na. And that's not a phrase with a lot of meaning. I mean, ooh, ah, right?
Like, yeah, it's getting better.
Okay, so next phrase has the same start with quarter notes. I think we'll do it just dotted there. No snap there. And the words are atl, atl, ooh, ah.
Oh, yeah, that helps.
Yeah. Yes. E, V, A, da, ooh, ah, I, da, la, na. E, V, A, da, atl, atl, ooh, ah.
That's really funny.
That's really what they are. I mean, I actually have the book this time, so I can. Becky knows at other Fiddle Club meetings I sometimes say, oh, I don't know the words, and I gloss over it. I'm actually singing today. So.
Do you sing at the same time?
I have done so. It is not easy, and I'm not going to attempt it today. So, but let's put our phrase together, because we've got that quarter note starting phrase. We've got a first answering phrase, which is that downward scale with the whole, and then our same calling phrase and a different answering phrase, which is the up to left.
Very beginning of what?
Beginning.
From the very beginning. Here we go. Let's do it again a few times. Okay, I was trying to be consistent with the snaps, and then I found that I was changing. So
when I tried to change with you, we should.
I know, I'm making myself difficult to follow this time. Okay, but the rhythm actually becomes important in the B part because it goes with words that actually have more meaning. Because the words are Kimera les monien, and Kimera Kimera means how. So how do you reel? How do you reel, young lady? We have to get that rhythm for the word Kimera Kimera. So this is the burl figure on the note D. Now you can always, practically speaking, substitute a quarter note for that burl. It's a decorative figure. But in this case, the words are really telling you, put that decoration in. And Oliver, it's best done with sort of this part of the bow, above the middle, but not all the way at the tip. And then you try to pull and get a shudder to happen, so there's a bit of momentary tension, and then you relax it so it just kind of bounces back. And I'll try to show that on the video. Okay, so, but we're doing it on the note D. Let's just do a bunch of those until it gives you a chance to come. Okay, that's half of the bar for the beginning of the B part. The next half, the rest of the bar, after the burl. Sounds like you got the notes. Any questions?
The notes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next bit. I always add that. Yeah. So it's very much like the second bar of the A part. even though it has printed in the book as a quarter the word for that has 2 syllables. G sound soda ora.
Oh, so that's where we're putting snap.
Yeah, so we're putting ora in
Yeah,
there.
that sounds like it should be
Yeah. Because it's not or, and it's not ora. Ora, ora. So I think we'll just do it. So let's do it with the beginning part of the B part. That was the burl. Okay, we're almost there. Any questions on that? No? Okay. Drawing the bow deliberately can help with this because it's very rhythmic in its nature. This type of song is entirely to provide rhythm for dancing. So if we're sort of strong and rhythmic with our bow strokes instead of like, oh, maybe I should turn it around, then it tends to help straighten the melody out too. Luckily, the structure has enough repetition that the practice kind of comes naturally just by playing the tune over. So. Next bar, same as the first. And the ending is the same as the ending of the first part. So let's try the second half, where we do the burl, and add it to. Ready? Let's start at the beginning of the B part. And again. Okay, I think we should add the beginning in so that we get the complete tune.
Oh, is it? All right.
It's nice when the tune is that short.
Is it repeatable?
Yes. So the first part is 4 bars. You repeat that, you get 8. Second part also 4 bars. You repeat that, so then you get 8 more. Total of 16. 16 is the standard number of bars for any Scottish strathspey. However, we got there by a particularly compact route by having bar 1 and 3 be the same. So we get 4 bars for the price of 1.
16, not 32.
Yeah, well, and then for the dance purposes, you would probably repeat that strathspey and get 32 bars before you moved on to anything else. So you get a lot of music out of these few bars. Yeah, oh yeah, it's definitely good. Because basically this is following one of the classic Scottish forms of composition, which is you have a question, answer, question, different answer, repeat. And then you have stuck into the same form new question, same answer, new question, same second answer, repeat. So we have almost that, because the difference between the first answering bar in the first part and the answering bar in the second part is a slight variation rather than completely new stuff. So we learn a little bit of stuff and we get a whole tune. So that's why this is a nice, quick ear learning tune, relatively speaking, as opposed to those tunes where every bar is different. You could spend a lot more time learning a tune when you do not get to make use of this repetition. So let's capitalize on that and enjoy ourselves. So from the beginning we have the 4 quarter notes, then the gapped scale, then those same 4 quarter notes, and then the ending bar. And then the second part is the kimina, the burl, and then slotting in the other things. Here we go. Strathspey tempo, and compared with the Cape Breton Strathspey tempos we've been appreciating over the weekend, it's quite slow. But you can always
be played for step dancing?
It could be played for step dancing. Mouth music pieces are often heard in Cape Breton. This one, I know I've heard it in Cape Breton, but only from singers. I don't know if I've heard a fiddler play it. So I'm not sure how common it is in the dance repertoire. But in terms of, it is one of the best known mouth music strathspeys in Gaelic. There are others that you hear in Cape Breton just as often. One of them is well, it's the tune we know as Miss Drummond of Perth,
Oh.
Callum Crubach, which means lame Malcolm. Because the Gaelic words start out with that. Callum Crubach, and the other one that gets heard quite a lot in mouth music Strathspey is one that we know as Lady Madalina Sinclair. And I don't know the words for that one. It was da ya ba dee da 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 dee da ba dee da da dee da. And so there are words for that one as well. And those I have heard in Cape Breton, both mouth music and, of course, fiddle versions of them. All right, I think we can go on to another tune. How's that sound? Well, we always do. Becky has learned that when I say we should do another tune, it's best just to say yes, Elke.
Yeah, just, yes, Elke.
Okay, so we either have more Strathspeys, reels, or jigs, or a slow air.
What a jig. That would be like completely different.
That would be completely different. I've got another Strathspey too.
Should I close the door?
Yeah, let's close the door, although it might not help because
Yeah,
they're below
right
us.
down there.
They're coming through the wall. There's a big set of windows where we can look over to the other workshop.
Yeah,
Which
nobody
is-
actually said we could have set up in these other rooms.
Ah,
It's a little late to tell us that.
yeah, okay. Well, I don't know how much is coming through on the
Probably
recording.
not much.
Hopefully not too much. No, we'll just completely overwhelm them. We'll completely overwhelm them. So here's the jig. This is going to take us a little longer to learn because it has more than 8 bars and they don't all repeat. But it's not going to be that bad to learn, I think. It's called Sweet Willie, and it's by Randy McClellan. So Randy McClellan was a fiddler. The generation that has passed away. One of the people who learned from him was Brenda Stubbart, who many of you have heard of. And Brenda Stubbart is a composer herself. She's not the one who wrote Brenda Stubbart's reel, that's just named for her by Jerry Holland. But Brenda Stubbart's written a lot of her own tunes. Anyway, this is by her mentor. There's lots of stories about...
She wrote Randy McClellan, didn't she?
Yeah, she wrote a tune called Randy McClellan. This is not it. That's a reel. That's a favorite reel. We love playing that
I
tune.
know that's where you're going.
No, this is a tune by Randy McClellan. So there are lots of stories about him because, there's a lot of Highland folklore that has transplanted to Cape Breton, and some of the things that are common in Scottish Highland folklore are also common in Cape Breton. So, for example, there's things like the seventh son of the seventh son is a healer.
Oh.
And so one of my mother-in-law's uncles was a seventh son, and he was supposed to have healing properties. And she had asked him if he would heal her daughter on one occasion, and he said that wasn't in his hands. So maybe he declined to perform the miraculous healing upon request. But anyway, he was still said to be a healer. So that's interesting that, as close as in my own in-laws family, that and up to almost the modern times, that kind of,
Still kind of hangs on.
yeah, this sort of tradition is still given a lot of credit in Cape Breton. It's very much part of the culture. So that's a long-winded way of getting back to Randy McClellan, who is supposed to have had a bow that was given to him by the fairies.
Oh, he's
He's the guy with the fairy bow. Right. So Randy McClellan had this fairy bow. Now, Scottish fairies, this is serious business. These are not like Tinkerbell with the sparkly magic wand. Scottish fairies are up to all kinds of mischief, and sometimes it's like serious mischief. It's not just, a joke. And So there are tales of people being carried away by the fairies, babies being switched, the fairies leaving a changeling in the crib. This was in the old days, one of the explanations for why a child who had been just fine suddenly becomes fussy and ill and whatever, is that fairies obviously came and did a switcheroo. So sometimes these fairies are not very kind, but in the musical sphere, the fairies are generally acknowledged to have lots of good tunes because there are all these stories about people, I was coming back late last night, and as I passed that fairy hill where the fairies hang out underground, I heard this music coming from a hole in the ground, and here's the tune, and it would be some wild magical tune. And there are lots of stories like that. I did a whole workshop one time on tunes that had this supposed origin from the fairies. So, Randy McClellan is said to have had a bow that was given to him by these fairy musicians. And exactly how he acquired it, I don't know. I don't know that story. I'm not privy to it. But anyway, this is a tune Randy McClellan wrote. It's called Sweet Willie. I'm not personally sure who Willie was in relation to Randy McClellan, but it's a sweet tune. So it'll take us a little longer to learn it than Evie on let's go for it though. So pickup notes, and just generally speaking, you will not find a C in this tune. It sounds like an A minor tune with in the Dorian mode, which means all Fs are F sharp. So that's just kind of convenient fingering. So it's
What's the keys of there?
1 sharp,
Okay.
but it's A minor. So it's an A Dorian minor if you're in 2 modes. Basically, it just tells you
2 chords?
more than 2 chords.
Oh.
There's E minors as well as G chords.
Okay, so
So-
it's sort of an A minor and G or E minor?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I sort of think of it in kind of a 2 chord.
Yeah. So it's not strictly 2 chords. It's 2 chords with a little spice. Right. Okay. So fairy dust. Oh, that's very funny. Okay. So our pickup notes. And then our first proper note is E. Okay, so now let's continue on from our first proper note, which is the E. So it's really just a scale, a rhythmic scale, right down from G, skipping that C note, because that's our missing note in this scale. Ready for the next bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're more or less key of G, right? Hovering around G end to end. So it's landing on that G. And here's what's next. So that's a pickup note of a B. And then it's right down that scale with the hole again. So B jumping to the high G. Right down the scale with no C. is, this is true for most people.
I think, can we do
I
the
play-
first four?
I play the little bits and then people are like, okay, I got the bit, and then I put it together. So yeah, we could put the first four together.
Yeah.
So the pickup notes. Okay, that's starting to build it up a little bit.
Oh, you're done?
No. We're not done yet. However, here's some good news. Good news is that the next phrase is exactly the same as the first.
Good.
So that's for free.
Yay.
Let's move right on to the next,
Okay.
the fourth and last phrase in this part of the tune. So it does start the same way, but then you jump right up to the high G and come down on arpeggio notes, G, D, B. And then essentially you land on A, but he doesn't want the phrase to be over yet because he's got more rhythm to fill in, so he does a little twiddle that just fills in the space. So the beginning part of that again was just the high G, arpeggio, twiddle. And that's the end. Shall we try putting it together now? All of it. to going right to the at G, F sharp, because it keeps doing that, and then it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, I love this tune because it has sort of this cleverness in its composition that it reuses that descending scale thing, but it uses it in slightly different ways. And so it's offset by a beat, for example, in the A phrase versus the G phrase, but it's the same notes. And it's like, well, that's actually very efficient composition. In that, you know, we don't have to learn some completely different new pattern, but it's different because it doesn't sit the same way in the phrase. So I think that's a pretty clever compositional technique. Well, we're going to see some more of that in the B part. So
We're done with the A?
yeah, that was the A
Halfway
part.
through.
We're
Okay.
halfway through the tune. Let's go on. So the A part begins with long notes. It has pickup notes because we're going to reach our highest note in the tune, the high A. And we have the high A, then the lower A. And I honestly don't know at this point whether I'd be going up bow or down bow.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Because-
is there some reason why you're doing that?
No, it doesn't really matter so much in a jig. I mean, it could go either way.
Yeah.
And often you'll find that one time through it'll be down bow, and the next time it'll be up bow, unless you specifically do something to regularize the bowing, like adding a slur somewhere. But these jigs are very accepting of bow as it comes. Yeah. So if that suits you, just go for it. Free range bowing is allowed in this kind of tune. Okay, so we just had the octave jump, right? I'll do it down bow this time just to prove that that's okay too. So G as the pickup, and then again it's scale work. Except we're leaving a hole for F sharp that time too. If we were doing a pentatonic scale, the notes left out would be the C and the F.
Oh.
If we're doing the hexatonic, which is how it started, you only leave out the C. So these are predictable absences. And if you know pentatonic scales, and if you know hexatonic scales, in other words, 5-note or 6-note scales, gap scales, you get used to how these gap scales tend to work. It's really predictable which note's going to get left out. So get familiar with them, and then don't be surprised when these features come up in these, the composed tunes, because they're going to be there. Yeah, you're looking very unsurprised about this. So, okay, Elke, stop babbling. Play the tune. Pick a note of G. Because they really do go with this phrase of music and not with any other phrase. Okay, now I want to go on to the next phrase, because now we're going to do a G focused phrase. It starts again with a long note. The note is D. And then we go up to G and do our usual gapped scale. Except landing on G this time, because this is the B part, so we got to do something a little bit different. Those two phrases together. So we've got, I'll map it out. The pickup notes, long A, octave low, gap scales, long D, and then our favorite scale, the landing on G. It does have some flow, but I know that not all the pieces are necessarily all complete at once.
Yeah.
It'll come back. That's
We'll have more time.
yes, we will definitely have more time to play it. Let's do the next phrase. It starts with the exact same figure, including the pickup notes. So we just had, you know, and then we do the same pickup notes. That's all the same. Nothing different at all. So our next phrase ending. Does that sound kind of familiar? Yeah, so the phrase ending in the first part was, we've changed the first three notes. And then the rest is the same. So we start on a D, climb the scale, and then it's familiar stuff from there. That come before with the pickup notes. So let's go ahead and play that part, and just I'm taking notes so that when I correct mistakes on the music at home and reissue them, I have my notes. All right, it's actually correct in Sweet Willie. I was correcting something else that I forgot to notate before. All right, we've got 8 bars. We've got 2 pickup notes, the high A, the low A, the 2 gapped scales, and then the long D note connects connected to our usual phrase, our usual gap scale, landing on G. Then a direct repeat with the long notes, 2 gap scales, and our ending with this scale beginning of it. All right, let's try it. Let's do it again. All right. We are halfway through the B part, and while that might send you panicking, do not panic because there's nothing new to learn.
There's nothing,
It's
why is there a second half?
There's a second half because,
Because I have
okay, I shouldn't have phrased it that way, should I?
It'll be brand new to me.
It start,
But you won't be surprised.
But she knows.
right, there aren't a lot of surprises here, yes. So it starts the same way. And this is where it's just a little different. Does that sound familiar? That's in the A part. So except for the pickup notes that transition from in the A part it was, but this is essentially the opening phrase of the A part. Except now it's the closing phrase. And then it,
And then when you start the tune again, you're gonna start right with the opening phrase.
well, yes, it's going to sound familiar because you just
Oh,
played it
yeah.
4 bars before.
Oh.
Yeah. So let's put this into place. We're going to play the second B part. So it starts out with what we've just been practicing with the long high A, low A. And then here, the pickup notes are jump from this G to a high G, right down the scale. Does that feel familiar? It should feel familiar. Yes, totally familiar, right?
You got it.
Exactly.
You're
Well,
in my
let's play
face.
this through. Let's play this through a couple of times, and then let's put it into the extended B so that we can feel it when it comes around at the right time. Let's do it again. I'll give you a warning. Go to the high G. I think we would do better actually putting it into the extended B, because then we get to go through the whole B in its regular form, and then the second ending where it'll actually feel like, oh yeah, something new should happen here. So let's, on that theory, that working theory, let's go check it out and see if we can get that to fall into place better. Myself that time. Again? Yes?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, good, let's do it. 16 bars of the B part. One more time. And then we gotta do the whole tune. Okay, the entire B, here we go. That's right. Always pay attention to where you start and finish. That's what I say. You know, you can play all kinds of things in between. If you finish well, then you're good. All right. Well, I do think we should try the whole tune, and luckily we just had that little reminder of how it started. Yep. Let's now play 2 A's, 1 extended B. We got the whole tune of Sweet Willie. dancing speed, but it was pretty good. So that's Sweet Willie. You want to try one round at dancing speed?
Okay, I have trouble not sticking the dot in it when I get up to fast.
Right, and this is a Cape Breton jig, so you keep it even.
Yeah, it's hard for me.
I mean, you're allowed to do that for Scottish jigs, but not for Cape Breton styling. Because that step shuffle, step shuffle, step shuffle, step shuffle jig rhythm is pretty important and fundamental. There's been a lot of talk this weekend about how Cape Breton tunes in particular are based on the dance rhythms. And so you have to, you don't have to study step dancing, but if you do, at least learn the basics of the stepping. It tells you how to play the tunes much clearer. So I am no brilliant step dancer, but I can make my way through a square dance set, and it helps me figure out how the music should sound when it's played. So it makes me a better fiddler for dance sets, just for having learned enough about the steps to do it. So no need to become an expert or star performer, step dancer, but go, if you have the opportunity, go learn a little bit about it. Okay, so let's play it at more, that's a little more of the step dance speed. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to close down this, and we can take our break.
Oh, okay.